My leg was on fire. Every step felt like walking on shattered glass. I looked at my shift leader, hoping she'd understand when I said I needed to rest early, but instead she smirked and said, "We're all in pain. You don't get special treatment." That's when I realized she had no idea who she was talking to, because within the hour I was going to walk out and leave her drowning in chaos on our busiest day of the week. If you've ever worked under someone who disrespected you, ignored your pain, or treated you like you didn't matter, hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready for one of the most satisfying, petty revenge stories you'll hear today. Because sometimes the best revenge is simply walking away. Back in January, my life took a sharp turn I never saw coming. I'd been feeling this deep, nagging ache in my left leg, the kind of pain that keeps you awake at night. After weeks of pretending it was nothing, I finally saw a doctor, and the words that came out of his mouth flipped my world upside down. A tumor on my tibia. It wasn't cancer, thank God, but it was serious enough that one wrong move could snap the bone clean in half. Tried to process it, but my mind kept looping. How am I going to work? How am I going to live like this? I was a hard worker, the type who showed up early, stayed late, and picked up shifts when no one else would. So hearing that I needed surgery and months of recovery crushed me. April came and I met with a surgeon who didn't sugarcoat it. He said, "If you keep working right now, you're risking a permanent fracture. You need to stop immediately." Those words hurt more than the pain itself. I didn't just lose my health, I lost a part of my identity. June arrived and I finally had the surgery. Recovery was slow, frustrating, and painful. There were nights I just stared at the ceiling, wondering if I'd ever walk normally again. But I did everything right: therapy, rest, patience, and by late August, I was finally cleared to return to work. I thought the worst was behind me. Spoiler alert, I was wrong. When I walked back into work, it felt strange, like stepping into a world that had moved on without me. Everyone smiled politely, asked how I was feeling, and went right back to their routines. Everyone except one person, my shift leader, Megan. Now, Megan wasn't technically a manager, but she loved to pretend she was. She strutted around like she owned the place, barking orders, nitpicking everyone's work, and taking credit whenever something went right. She had that fake sweet voice she used around upper management. But the moment they turned away, she'd roll her eyes and start snapping at people. Before my surgery, I'd had minor run-ins with her. Nothing huge, just enough to know she had a superiority complex the size of the store. But this time she had new fuel. She saw me as the weak one, the guy who'd been off work for months, the easy target. Sunday came, the busiest day of the week. The store was chaos, phones ringing, carts clattering, customers lined up at every register. I was assigned to curbside shopping and carry-out, basically sprinting back and forth, gathering online orders, packing them, and loading them into cars. It's a demanding job, and honestly, I loved the rush. But that day, things felt off. About 90 minutes into my shift, the familiar pain started creeping up my leg. At first, it was just an ache. I thought, okay, breathe. It's fine. Just push through it. But within minutes, it was unbearable, sharp, electric pain shooting up from my shin to my thigh. I tried leaning on my other leg, but that didn't help. My vision blurred for a second, and I realized I couldn't keep going. If I didn't rest, I could actually injure myself again. So I limped over to Megan, who was standing by the counter scrolling on her phone. "Hey," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "My leg's really hurting. I need to take my break about 20 minutes early, just to rest a bit." She didn't even look up right away. When she finally did, she gave me that condescending little smirk and said, "We're all tired. It's a team effort. You can't just go on break whenever you want." I blinked, stunned. "I'm not tired, Megan. I literally can't walk right now. My doctor said I need to be careful." She cut me off. "Unless you have a doctor's note saying you can take breaks whenever you feel like it." The answer's no. Funny thing is, I did have a doctor's note, but she didn't even ask to see it. She just wanted to assert control. I felt the anger bubbling up, but I swallowed it down. My leg was throbbing so badly I thought I might collapse. 5 minutes later, she must have noticed me struggling, because she sighed dramatically and said, "Fine, go on your break. But next time, plan better. Plan better." Right, because I could totally schedule when my leg decides to explode in pain. I hobbled to the break room, sat down, and finally let out the breath I'd been holding. The pain was intense, but the humiliation hit harder. I had survived a tumor. surgery, months of physical therapy, and now I was being treated like some lazy kid trying to skip work. As I sat there, I thought about every moment I'd put up with her disrespect. The way she'd snap at coworkers, micromanage everything, and act like she was untouchable. The longer I sat there, the angrier I got. 15 minutes flew by. But instead of standing up and going back, I just stared at the clock and thought, why? Why am I doing this to myself? I realized I didn't owe this place anything. I'd given my time, my effort, my health, and all I'd gotten in return was pain and disrespect. That's when I made my decision. No dramatic speech, no yelling, just clarity. I stood up, grabbed my stuff, and walked straight to the manager's office. He looked surprised when I came in. "Hey, what's up?" I said calmly. "I'm done, I quit." He blinked. "Wait, what?" "I can't do this anymore. I've been treated like trash since I came back, and I'm not risking my leg just to make someone else feel powerful." He started to say something, but I was already turning to leave. I walked to the time clock, punched out, and that beep sounded like freedom. A few minutes later, as I was checking out my groceries, I heard my name called over the intercom. "My name, please come to your department." I laughed out loud. "Nope, not today." I kept walking. As I reached the exit, I saw the store manager walk in. He gave me that sharp, disappointed look, and the one that says, "How dare you walk out on us right now?" I smiled, nodded, and walked straight out the door. When I got to my car, I sat there for a moment and just breathed. For the first time in months, I felt peace. No guilt, no pressure, just relief. Later that evening, my phone started blowing up. Coworkers were texting me things like, "Dude, did you really quit mid-shift? And you won't believe how bad it got after you left." Apparently, Megan completely lost control. Orders piled up, customers complained nonstop, and the manager had to come in early to help. My absence created total chaos, and honestly, it couldn't have happened to a better person. The next morning, one of my friends from work messaged me again. He said Megan was furious, running around yelling, trying to fix everything herself. Nobody wanted to help her because she'd burned so many bridges. They were short-staffed all week, and she had to open every single day. That's when it hit me. I hadn't planned revenge, but karma delivered it anyway. All I did was walk away, and it was enough to expose her for what she really was. By quitting in the middle of our busiest day, I didn't just free myself. I left Megan standing in the mess she created. Every angry customer, every missed order, every complaint, all of it landed on her shoulders, and she deserved every second of it. It was poetic justice, because for someone who thought she ran the place, she couldn't even handle one day without me. Sometimes revenge doesn't need to be loud or dramatic. You don't always have to fight or scream to get justice. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away and let life handle the rest. If this story hit home for you, if you've ever worked under someone who made you feel small or ignored your pain, hit that like button, share your story in the comments, and subscribe for more real-life revenge stories just like this. Because remember, walking away isn't weakness, it's power.